Now looking at our trial balance, we see we have $600 of prepaid advertising. Recall that prepaid means we paid for it, but has not yet been used up. It's an asset until it is used up. Once it is used up, we can lower the asset and increase an expense. Therefore, over time, the prepaid asset will be used up, and this $600 balance will no longer be accurate, and consequently must be updated with a journal entry. This company chooses to enter adjusting entries monthly. So it is now the end of the month, February 28th, and we need to calculate how much of the $600 has been used up and then record an adjusting journal entry to lower the account so that the amount is now accurate. So we need to do three things. 1, find out how many months of the prepaid asset was purchased. 2, calculate how much was used up over 1 month. And then 3, record the journal entry to update the balance of the prepaid asset. So the first step is to find out how many months of the prepaid asset was purchased. There are 2 ways to do so. 1, we can drill down via the chart of accounts, or 2, if you know the vendor from whom you made the purchase, simply find the vendor in the vendor center and find the purchase transaction under that vendor. We will try method 1 first, which is drilling down via the chart of accounts. First, we must open up the chart of accounts. There are several ways. From the home page, we could just click on Chart of Accounts, or we could go to Lists, Chart of Accounts, or Accountant, Chart of Accounts, or notice over here, Control+A is a keyboard shortcut. So now I'm looking at the Chart of Accounts. And we find our prepaid asset. Notice it has a $600 balance. We can double click it. This opens a register for the prepaid asset. We can see we made a $600 purchase on February 1. But for how many months? To find out, we right-click on the transaction, and then we choose Edit Bill. In the memo section, we see that we bought 6 months of prepaid advertising for $600. $600 divided by 6 months means $100 of the prepaid asset was used up this month. So now we need an adjusting journal entry. To open the window, we can go to Accountant, Make General Journal Entries. You may see this message saying that QuickBooks will automatically assign numbers to the entry number field, which is right here. For example, if we enter 1 for the first adjusting entry, when we make another adjusting entry, QuickBooks will automatically assign 2 for the entry number. We will use AJE1 for the entry number. AJE1 means adjusting journal entry, and the 1 means this is the first one. QuickBooks will automatically make the next entry AJE2. And since we've already calculated the amount, I will enter $100 in the debit and the credit. Now we must determine the accounts to use. Since we used up some of the prepaid advertising, we need to make the account balance decrease. How do we make it decrease? With a debit or a credit? Well, if you forgot, just go to the trial balance, find your prepaid advertising, which is a prepaid asset. Notice it has a debit balance. So to decrease it, we must credit the account. So I'm going to skip the debit for now, and I'm going to decrease prepaid advertising by $100. The debit account will be an expense that shows we used up the prepaid advertising. We can open the chart of accounts, and since we know expenses are towards the end, we just scroll all the way to the bottom. and we choose the most appropriate expense. And we find account 6050 is advertising expense. Then, for the memo, we need to write how we calculated the entry. Because if your supervisor asks you months later how you calculated this $100, chances are you will have forgotten. So I'm going to enter $600 divided by 6 months equals $100. And then we can save it by clicking on Save and Close, or Save and New, or even the Save button up here. Now, I also wanted to show you the other way we could have found out the number of months we purchased of the prepaid asset. It assumes we know from whom we bought the prepaid asset. To do so, we go to the Vendor Center, because that's who we buy things from, not customers. And in this case, we know that we buy our prepaid advertising from Kuza and Carl Associates. And then we double check, are we looking at all the transactions over here? All three of these must say all. And now we can look at the transactions, which are down here. We find the bill, the purchase. We can double click it, and there we can see how many months we paid of prepaid advertising. So now you know the two common ways to find out how many months you purchased of the prepaid asset. And that's it.